It was about things like shoujo, anon grand, telele, like I said the other day. Like, no one gets that but black people in this country, and everywhere else we have to explain it. And yes, there's a lot of intercultural, like, we rub off on each other. So South Africans, South African whites, blacks, etc., all of us have a South African tal. We have South African, listen, there is literally a language here on earth that needs to be qualified and put down on paper as a language, called South African. South Africans speak South African. So you will find, like, the white people in this country, there's a certain way that I can speak to white people from South Africa that I cannot speak to white people from anywhere else, even if they are English speaking. I would have to formalize my English to white people from another country in a way that I can speak more colloquially with white people from this country. And that language, where it is that I can speak to white people in this country and they would understand, that would be the language called South African. But even white people and Indian people and colored people that can speak South African, it still was not exactly Blackin. It still was not, okay, so herein lies the language that I call South African, and then herein lies the language that I call Blackin. And our language, black people in this country, Blackin, that is a mix of English, Afrikaans, Zulu, Tswana, Sotho, whatever might be your dialect. Zonk in one sitting. And we have colloquialism, colloquial terminology, and collocations in blackage, what do I call South African? Blackin, that coloreds might not understand unless they hang out with so many blacks that of course they get it, or white people might not get. But there is South African language that no one else other than South Africans would understand, and that we can speak even with white people and coloreds and Indians, etc. So again, colored people have their own, what should I call? I called the black language Blackin, like South African, Blackin. There's colored in, and there's Indian, there's white in. There's a language that's understood by just them. Do you understand? That makes you able to relate with everything they say without having to ask, what does that mean? What does that mean? What did you just say? Explain. What? You get my point, right? Yeah. And, well, I mean, the Blackin, the language that I call Blackin, I could only get it from other black people in this country. Nakona, black people that were not adopted by white folk or any other race of folk. They're the only ones that I can speak Blackin with. And this Blackin is a feasible language everywhere you go in this country, no matter the province, no matter the language group. So whether you are Zulu or Tswana or Sotho or Xhosa or whatever, there's certain Blackin that we will get even if we're in the Eastern Cape or Wenzu or whatever. But it does matter if you've grown up, for instance. Nah, actually it doesn't, but it does if you've grown up like in Soweto or in Johannesburg, the Greater Gauteng area. You will have a particular Blackin. Listen, the Blackin of Tshwane, the Blackin of Mamelodi, Pitori, Soshanguve, etc. is very different from the Blackin that you find in Soweto. And when you come from like Soweto and you go visit your cousins in Mamelodi, which is in Tshwane or Pretoria, he will covet them. The way they speak is just like, hey, give me this, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, but the baby, they call Kota Spatlo and they call Makweyedi baby. I only know that because I had a cousin that spoke Blackin from Mamelodi. Nakona, what is called that? It's a bunny chow. Indians call it bunny chow. White people call it bunny chow. The baby are like fat cakes, magwenya. But like there's just the way that people basa Mamelodi talk. I know get modese, umupila, I get le bonjo. Yeah. No, the baby. There's a way they talk, and I wish I could talk like that. I used to covet my cousins. I could listen to them all day, right? But I only caught so much because I was from Soweto and they were from Mamelodi. Similarly to Nabo, they listen to us talk, and there's just certain nuances with us too. And I mean, I'm from Gauteng, Johannesburg, and Soweto. Gauteng, Johannesburg, and if we're gonna boil it down to the Kasi in question here is Soweto. And man, guys from Soweto, listen. Nobody can tell me jack, yo. Like, no one. How Namutwe can tell me anything about a black dude from Soweto or just from these Gauteng streets. There's a way they talk, and we grew up with it, and it was huge among girls. As a black girl, like I said, with the sentence that I used, that I said, Uringivar. Hardly ever are you gonna find she's a little bit of a tsotsi girl, which I have ever since coming into this sorrow. Language and I all up in these streets. Because ngiyafuna nje ukunhlangisa ukunikhipha, but I never used to talk like this. Anyone that would listen to my content today would be like, when did you start talking like that in the season? Because I'm trying to get to everyone, right? I'm like Hudson Taylor in China wearing Chinese gear. I was trying to get to South Africans by speaking all of their random nuance. I was trying to get to all of them. So, however, back in the day, you would never have heard me saying Nirivar or Estivarheit. I was always like a typical black chick. No, I'm speaking the truth, Joe. That's how I spoke as a girl. But the dudes that we hung out with were like, no, Rinivar. I'm telling you now. I know. I would never have said that back in the day. That's how men talk. That's how our boys talk. Women, you would barely ever find, especially a little bit of a snobbish chick being like, I only let myself speak like that because I was trying to reach some crazy people. I was wearing a kimono, is it called a kimono or whatever, in China as Hudson Taylor's wife. I was trying to talk to people with their language. So I ended up speaking a whole bunch of Tsotsi Tal, but I would never have, like, listen, my ex-boyfriend would listen to my content and be like, since when do you talk like that? Even my Zulu, it's been refined in the season by persecution because it is South Africa's lingua franca, Zulu. Whereas my core most spoken language when I was on the come up was Tswana. Because my mom is Tswana and she's the one that raised us. My dad was the Zulu one and even his Zulu sucked because he was from Hillbron. I don't even know why my dad is Zulu. He's Zulu by surname but not so much by culture. So his Zulu Sam Greshap, I picked it up. From, well, the last guy that I dated when I was, like some dude that I dated at MTN was Zulu, but I didn't date him long enough, but I loved his Zulu enough to like look up to it, role model it. And then just watching about Isbaya and whatnot, and even recently, Gomora dude, Ujonasi. Lagui polygamist. So I picked it up more of it. But largely, largely, right? But now I think I'm nicely 50-50 between Tswana and Zulu. English is the majority language that I speak, but the reason why these things all changed was because I made observations. And like I said, the lingua franca of this country, the most commonly spoken language in South Africa out of all of the 11 official languages is Zulu. So I put that on my tongue because I'm actually trying to get to these gangsters. These gangsters appear to not be getting gettable too. Ooh, somebody's suffering to get to some people. Anyway, whatever. Okay, we did all that. So a black girl would usually say she's speaking the truth, also, as opposed to urinivar. A black woman would also usually say alrighty or alright. A black guy would be like urinivar. Yeah, those are things that black people would get right. And then hita. A black guy, a man, or a tomboy black girl, or a black girl that's just one of the boys would greet her friends, and especially guy friends, by saying hey ta. Yeah, but a black chick would be like, hello, dumelang, njan, nang grand. Not ni grand now is guises. Even saying it grand is rather that which a guy would respond and saying I'm okay when you ask him how you doing. A chick, however, would say right, nkona, sharp. A chick would say sharp. And sometimes guys also say sharp. But guys are the ones that say Nkre. Guys are the ones that say Mchororo. Guys are the ones that say Telele when they're like good and peachy and dandy in life. Guys are the ones that say Fere to find out what's going on, what's good. And then another guy would respond by using profanity. I'm not going to respond because I'm a Christian channel, just because I'm trying to explain the nuances of my language. I'm not going to actually use profanity in my language. Okay, in my languages, men are the ones that would say our guy, like like the way that guys speak. I know, like Papa, like the way that how men speak. Like, how many times have you ever heard a black woman saying about a guy that she wants to sleep with because she's just a loose chick? How many times would a black woman say I'ma hit that? No, it's guys that tend to say I'ma hit that. So similarly to such sexual innuendo in the black community, which I hear a lot of, because of the licentious, crass disposition of the audience I'm dealing with at present, that has caused me to be so turned off from black men in my country. They use terminology along the lines of "ngizomgaula" or "ngizomudla" or men speak like that. Women, when they are licentious and they just want to sleep with a guy because they think we're hot, will probably say, I'm going to sleep with him, or just you wait, just you watch, it's gonna happen. Just you give me 2 weeks. Women would say that. Amadoda will say so yeah, and that's the terminology, that's the language I hear every so often when I listen to what these when the Lord shows me what these guys are thinking about me. And yeah, so it's really turned me off. Type establishment thing. God, what I'm trying to explain over there is that a certain way, and there's also a certain way that our guys spoke mascula that is just the Achilles heel of women. They like this this way of talking, this grand dog boy, like yeah, it's black women's Achilles heel. It's a weakness in the worst way. It is black women's is Achilles heel, and it's the thing that'll make a chick just lose her mind. It'll make a woman lose her mind, and if the guy in question is a decent oak, then it's okay for you to just go all gaga and crazy over a dude and how he talks to you and how he talks to his boys. You're spazzing over conversation between a bunch of guys. It's alright if the dude is like your total all in all and he in himself is all in all to you. Like if he's just good people's, if he's a good husband. The way that black men talk when they're out here huddling with each other. But I guess yo, that's the kind of stuff that somebody needs to be out there getting some prayers over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need deliverance. You need Jesus. Hallelujah. Amen. Somebody needs to raise the hands up like Moses in the wilderness as the Philistines are being defeated. The Amalekites. So, ube delivered from your now. I'm born again. I'm saved. So, however, the thing that I was talking about was that, you see the thing that I just explained to you now? The thing I just explained to you now. Our version of Ebonics, our black language, made me, even though I was tempted to be offended by the Korean men that were like, I want to be with a Korean woman. And it's about the language barrier. I want my people. I get it because I used to be like that. I used to also think that way. I also used to, I couldn't fathom myself with any other guy. I couldn't, I just felt like I had been only with black men. Still to this day, I've never been with any other race. I'd been only with black men. And the hugs, the way that we related, how we talked to each other, how intimately, just the warmth of a relationship, what it feels like when you're with a black guy. I've only ever been with a black guy. I'd never been anywhere else. And I didn't have enough friends, frankly, in other races. No, I didn't at all. I didn't have friends in other races because we tended to stick to the silos. After apartheid ended, we just, like, in school, we were friends with each other, whatnot. Enough for me to observe the relationship of a friend of mine that was not black as to how that works out in their relationships. And so I didn't even have other people to look at to see if, oh, it's possible I can be with a white guy because I've got a white friend and I love the way that her man treats her. Like, I didn't have any other model to look at, and all that I'd ever had is a black guy. So for me, it was like, why would I mean, listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when I was asked, I emphatically said no. Would you ever date a white guy? No. I said no. Would you ever date a white guy? I said no. Indian? I said no. Colored? Not even colored. Not even colored. Like, I was like, I don't want a colored guy because a colored guy is not a black guy. In this country, there is a difference. I was like, I don't want a colored guy. Why? Because he's not black. I could never say it's because I don't like this about coloreds. It was because they were just not black. It wasn't, so I understood when the Koreans, initially I was offended. I was like, oh, so you don't like black women only because I'm suffering so much and my own race has kicked me out so badly, and I have just gotten such a bad taste in my mouth with black men from my in particular country that I was like, so when then other races are like, I want my Korean women, that's it, the language, they get it, they just get it. Korean women get it because I'm a Korean guy. I was hurt and offended because where am I gonna find a husband? You guys, I'm moving to your country and you're homogeneously Korean. What, must I marry an expat? There's not as many of them as there are you. But then I realized that there was a time before your people broke you to shards, smithereens, and millions of pieces, when you also could do no other thing but be with a black man. To a point where on that list of yours that you wrote to God and so seeking him for a husband, his face for a husband, hey God, please bless me with a husband. It must be a black guy. I said there has to be a black guy. I literally said in my prayers and also on my list, must be a black guy. And then I said I'm from Zulu, so how much Zulu I speak on my tongue, I saw Zulu Skipanda. Because, Zulu's got a reputation in this country. I was like, I don't want him to be Zulu. And I said that, or Xhosa. I said I don't want him to be Zulu because it might be violent and overbearing and draconian. And I said I don't want a Xhosa guy because he might just come out of the closet after 3 years of marriage. Face it, it's true. Most black gays are Xhosa. They are. Y'all know it's true. Most of these black guys coming out of the closet, either later or even now, or even if they've been that all their lives, most of them are my class. Sus guys in this country, in my class, most. And then yes, there are of course gays across all other races, not races, but tribal groups, like Somizi and Lasizo, etc. But most of these guys are just popping out of the closet, and I don't even know why that's a thing. But the gays in the black community in this country are concentrated among Xhosas. They are. So Minangati, I don't want a Xhosa guy because I don't want somebody out here coming with like some angle later on in a marriage on some. Actually, I like men. Senzondu, Jason, sense. Hey, something here. Anyway, whatever, right? Tamsanga. A lot of them. I'm not saying all of them. And they also do so well in business, and gay men tend to do well in business. Eastern Cape. Everyone from the ocean has an issue. Amazulaya Tlapa, Amakosalala with each other. There's no running away with all these guys from the coast. Monkey by I'm sorry. Either gay or violent. You can't catch a break with guys from the ocean. I'm sorry. Y'all are picking a bone with me. I don't care. Katele eat me. Anyway, whatever. I say I don't want Xhosa, I don't want Zulu, everything else goes. Zulu, Tswana, Lady Anglanda. And then I went on to list other things like I want him to be tall, I want him to be this. I wasn't pedantic about complexion, he could be dark, light, wada. But I definitely wanted a black guy. And I also said that I wanted a black guy, and in particular it would be great, although I wasn't pedantic about it, it would be great if he was from not so much Soweto, but Ekasi. Like if he grew up Ekasi. Like I said that I didn't want a black guy that was too Model C, like, oh yo, how you doing? And that's all that he got. He gotta have that edge about him. So at some point he has to have like grown up Soweto or and like whatever the kasi, I didn't care. Largely I was content with Soweto because that's where I was from, but it could have been Alex, it could have been any other kasi because that's where they cultivate this way of talking, type establishment thing. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, that was what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So for me to be what I am today, Mamela, it's giving trauma. It's giving that which used to be like, listen, everything that's awesome about black men has become, because of what's going on right now, kryptonite to black women. It weakens us. It's no longer complimentary, but just devastating. They function like Delilah to Samson, that which weakens something that would under normal circumstances do quite well for itself. And this is because of all their witchcraft. So our muse, our inspiration, and also our turn on, the thing that was very attractive, has now become a weakness, an Achilles heel. If that which people love about you becomes your weakness, it says you've been a terror on that day. If people would much rather not have to listen to you laugh boisterously or talk with your boys or just be you, because that's the thing that will make them reconsider being with you, because they can't be with you due to how dangerous you now are. That's the issue. The issue is not in your languages, how you talk, how you are amidst each other, or even that nyakaza, you got swagger or whatever. It's in the fact that that swagger now, that used to be complimentary, is now the devastating Achilles heel. In that, seeing as once you go black, you don't go back apparently. Uzobanzima manje ukuyotshela indoda where to get off when umametse that voice. And again, yes, I mean, this year I think I can vouch for that voice. So man, I don't know what's going on. Good deep da. The way they talk, the way thing, all these things that you are drawn to, that you're attracted to, kabona, become your weakness, because then if you fall apart in the climate of all that, which is supposed to attract you to the opposite sex, and you falling apart underneath it is the end of you. Because how it means your smiles don't mean jack, yo. It means your swagger, you're this, you're that, you're whatever. Your language, look at you go. Sisi Nana, you've joined cults. You are drinking our wombs ingati yogi sip. You are sowing discord in our families. You are making us fight each other as women. You are making us say yes, that is your fault. Because you linger us in relationships for 5 years and you don't propose marriage. And because the biological clock and all those years that have been wasted, women are not trying to basically have to claim them at the small claims court. By and forced to think by child. After all, had they not given you a firstborn child before you could put a ring on the finger? Even though this firstborn child came in year 4 of a 5-year relationship. Guys, well, 34 years to propose marriage, we don't know. So at least one jengabafazi that like now someone else who can say baby mama dog. I'm grateful that I didn't give my ex-boyfriend of 5 years a child, because I was extremely broody throughout the relationship. kodwa mengafuni mina ukuba just a baby mama. I don't want to be just a baby mama, but that's just this thing. Like, I don't know why black men are so indecisive about black women that they're with. You know, there's apparently this like whole statement that men don't marry the woman that they love the most when they get married, but they love the woman that's there at the time. And I think that's like true. I think that's true. So if other men of different races marry whatever woman that they're with at the time, but now when everybody is like 26, 27, and you are still dragging your feet, or you started dating this chick at 21, 22, where now also the woman that you're with at the time, seeing as you tend to mess a whole bunch up with the woman that you did love, that was your ride or die, that was the biggest and be all and better and end all to you, that was your cookie lion or Tarajiko baby boy when you were still kids. The one that you were with high school, like she ain't jack, and you sure. So you broke up, things didn't work out, you're not gonna get her back. Listen, it's that basic. So whoever you're with when you're 26, because you're not gonna get chick from high school back. Like, listen, she don't want you. There's a reason why you're not together anymore. And so whatever it is that is the feeling that you're chasing after, those strong feelings that you're chasing after that you had when you were dating some chick in high school, you're not going to get them, and also trying to pursue them, you're going to drag through the mud the woman that you are with at that date. That's why your recreational dating don't make any kind of sense. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, black men, unlike men of other races, don't marry the woman that they're with at the time, though they are at least willing to acknowledge they are not marrying the woman that they love, that they've had the strongest feelings for, but the one that was there at the time of them being ready to get married. Most men are willing to admit at least that. Like, listen, you can't have your bread buttered on both sides. People make too many mistakes all throughout life to expect to marry their one true love. People's true loves tend to come when you're still a child, dog. When you're still in high school, when you're still in varsity. That's when you're probably gonna catch and drop a ball concerning love, and you're not gonna get it again. So if you're not going to get the kind of passion that you had when you were in high school, you might as well marry the woman that you are with. You know, if I can't love the one that I want to be with, then I'm going to love the one you're with. Then I'm going to love the one you're with. That's so right. If you cannot love the one that you want to be with, then love the one you're with. That's just the way that life is. You have to, because you're not going to get that high school sweetheart back. You're just not. Most of you are not going to get the chick that you had strongest feelings for when you were a kid. Because most of you are just dumb at that time. Most people don't get born again as children. They don't get born again young. Enough for them to make a decision as soon as they fall madly in love with someone in high school or first year varsity for you to just save up ilobola. And most people will never experience utando lo that's very heavy. You're not going to experience it again later on in life. So since you're not going to experience it again, just get married. And it appears every other demographic gets that except black men. They are always just trying to find umwiponi from high school in other women. And when they don't find her, they drag a woman through the mud for 20 years in a relationship. And that's why black women are to be blessing the living daylights out of you. Black women make men marry them with witchcraft. Because, I mean, listen, are we going to turn 35 still dating? We've been dating since 27. We've been dating since 23. We've been dating since 24. I'm not 32, dog. I'm not 35. Why? Are you dragging me to the manga? So that's why you're dangerous. You turn women into witches that force you to marry them because through the mud trying to find muiponi from high school, and you learn ugly lessons from each other. You may over time, it's so painful to watch. Like, guys start out so cool, good peoples, and then later on they just become these misogynistic baboons. They start out so chivalrous, such good guys in school, and then after like in their 20s, late 20s, around their late 20s, I know they give each other such horrible advice that they change, and for the worst. And so what it is that attracted us to you when we were all on the come up, but frankly just generally the thing that attracts a black woman to a black man becomes an Achilles heel. It's a weakness. The way you smell, the way that you carry yourself, your swagger, everything that can make a black girl be out here spazzing hard over a black guy. Man, just say weakness. Why is into zothando kwamele ibe weakness? They've been created by God. I know, I said I'm not gonna fisela ukuthi nishone anymore. I think I'm back to the homicidal streak. I'm ban your board. I'm jumping into an ocean and just no kokumoya. Inhale. Hore le tlale ka metsi mo ga di lungs. I'm ban your daughter, man. That's like in your shanya. You have made yourselves so scary to us. You have made yourselves so scary to black girls. And I mean, I'm self-controlled. I know. I'm 42. Soon, I'm 41. I'm turning 42 in August. It's July the 1st today. No. Oh, but I like my men. I want my man to be able to understand my languages. I want to be able to listen to him talk to his boys and low-key kind of spaz over that. Like, have a little bit of a mini episode in a corner just listening to my husband talk to his friends. I'm not gonna so chase that thrill. I'm not gonna chase that rush to a point of self-defeat. I'm not gonna do it. Safety now. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Safety. Safe. And futhi angifuna ukuheshwa uforced angifuna ukudliswa angifuna ukuyodubwa mina ngathi ngido akwathi kholo food wana ngare ke papa no or te akwathi lo food wana ngare ke joko nyayahle. I'm not going to get strung along. Well, I mean strung, can't nobody string me along. I'm celibate. Like I'm not putting out. I'm not even scared of being strung along right now. As in they are determined to they've decided now after watching me for like a minute for them, and I lamented about that earlier. Did I not? The tola bo usibuko guy o botlo wa munyala wena o montsibile ka fela o findile out these credentials tsa hae di felletse. Woo! On social media I'm almost stalker. How could that botlo munyala put your best foot forward for 5 minutes and then drop a ball? Nyaya. Kare he. Hale sa dumelana le nna, you don't gotta. Angina ndaba nani nonke. Tana ngathi grab a noose. Okay, so jaga ga go le jwalo mona mo setradene I'm not going to chase after that. And since I'm fundiswa, I'm a cultures amanye ngoba I've only ever been with black men and hung out with a bunch of black girls, and then you black people cost me a life altogether, okay? And so I couldn't even make friends out there elsewhere to acclimate myself to their cultures and nuances, and so therefore find myself falling in love with those cultures. So I guess I'll have to learn my husband from scratch. And I don't know what else I can find attractive in a man because I've only ever been with black men. I'll have to just, feel my way around the room and figure it out. I have to feel my way around the room. I don't know how black men are, not black men, but white men are in a relationship. I don't know. Asians, whatever. I'll have to find out. And I trust the Lord to give me love in my heart for my husband. And that which I never knew I could love because I never knew it, I will learn it. So yeah, selflessness, just absolute abandon for another person. That I have never known from you black men, and that is something that women generally, whatever their race, desire. To be selflessly loved with and abandoned by a man, it is our curse, frankly. Eve, God said to her, from now on your desire will be for your husbands. We want men to care, and we want men to cherish us. And black men, while I don't doubt that some of y'all can do this, I've just not met one that did with me. And I don't have a determination to marry a white man or an Asian man or anything other than black. It's not my determination. It is what I was given in prophecy as an ultimate reality that's going to come to pass. So I'm not out here scouring the earth for white men or Asian men or non-blacks. I'm just waiting for whoever God has set apart for me. So like I said, I am not determined to marry a white man. I'm just waiting on God for my husband, and he keeps saying that he is a particular way. No one can come here and accuse me of refusing to be with black men and determining to be with white men, and so putting myself in harm's way. I could end up with one that's gonna kill me. I'm just waiting on the one that God has set apart for me. And yesterday, because of all of your korobela, I went into YouTube to go and I looked up black love, and I just looked at all of these little videos, these little shorts with these black couples out here showing us how happy they are. And it's not like I felt nothing, but I was like, nobody knows when we're looking at you guys out here looking so happy in your relationships, all tranquil and everything on social media. What are the just cornucopia of trash things you're going through when the cameras are not rolling? I used to record my ex-boyfriend on everything. Go to my old Facebook, you will find that. It was before everything was audio visual recorded with little snippets on TikTok or whatever. I grew up in the days of Facebook, so largely it was photographs, okay? And listen, I ended up deleting him later on because we broke up, but my ex-boyfriend was just littered all over my Facebook. And with me, the two of us, our relationship, people looking from the outside in would thoroughly think that we were just elated with each other, just happy. But I was always just crying about something. I was always complaining. I wanted the world to think a particular way about my relationship, but it wasn't true. I remember this one girl that I was speaking with on the phone that I met indeed on Facebook, and we ended up becoming friends even off Facebook. Me and this girl liked each other so much that we took our relationship off Facebook and into our own personal spaces. She was friends with a whole bunch of my friends. She went to Waverly Girls High, and a whole bunch of my friends from varsity went to Waverly. So basically by association, Facebook recommended her, we became friends, and we actually got really close, right? And I remember one time we were on the phone talking, and I mean, she just kept saying, you and your boyfriend look so happy. Y'all look so happy. But because we were tight, we were actually friends. I came clean with her. I was like, those are just photographs, dog. Like, this guy, yeah. Like, there are issues. And she also decided to, like, shapa straight and come clean as well. She decided to strip naked too and say, yeah, I get it, I understand. We are just posting all these elaborate pics of our boyfriends, but listen, kushubile in these relationships. The reality is that kushubile. There's dissatisfaction, there's disappointment, lots of it. There's people not dragging their feet. There's women carrying the weight of a relationship. There's trying to push a guy along to get to a certain point. There's listening to your boys more than me. There's like, why aren't you proposing marriage? There's this, there's that. However, in the beginning of these relationships, we both were able to mutually relate all night, all day, to a point of having to force yourself to get off the phone. Because I'm working tomorrow. It's 1 a.m. baby, I gotta go, we gotta go. It's 2 a.m. I have to wake up at 6. The way that you're so in love, you can't even put the phone down. Staying on the phone until like 1, 2 a.m. Taking for granted this chick told me when she and her boyfriend met, it was during the time when Vodacom to Vodacom was free from the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. So they would wait to speak for free in these hours, and so end up sleeping at like 3 a.m. in the morning, getting only 3 hours of sleep, and then going to work. The way they were just so in love. Yeah, but then like after speaking with your new boyfriend from 12 at night to 3 a.m. You're not too upset about what little sleep you got because you're just in cloud 9. No one can tell you jack, you're not falling in love. It's electric. Somewhere along the way, in that beginning phase of a relationship, and feel like who drop the ball, and the person who drops the ball tends to be the guy, because women love that honeymoon phase. Have I say anything to destroy it? Please listen, I'm not just speaking from a vantage point of because I'm a woman, I'm standing largely for women, and I've got this like misandric tone to me. No, women are the ones that are just elated and jubilant in this honeymoon phase, and the guys are always the ones to pop the first bubble, to burst the first bubble of this phase, where otlobua ufuthuma if it's penti ele ya khale ba bitsang futumeza. Why not ufuna ukhipha ifutumeza ngewinter dog emakhazeni uzoyiqoka saruri, and this new relationship ifutumeza for both you and your man, and you're both rocking this futumeza bese lenja le ibe the one yoqoka ithong kubani. It's like, dude, we were comfortable. This relationship was ifutumeza, and you just go awry, and you just always keep like salivating after those initial electric moments. You literally stick around much longer than you're supposed to in this relationship because you're always just chasing after lefutumeza, and it's always the men. Listen, I am not generalizing. It's always the guys that pop the bubble. It's always the guys that burst the bubble of ifutumeza, guys. You know it's true. You know it's true. And what tends to make men pop that futumeza? Destroy it. Counsel from other guys being basically made you feeling that ever since you join another chick, we simp manje, or you're weird, like you're not like the rest of us. It's like black men hate when their own are falling genuinely in love with women, and so they just disturb burgeoning relationships. They cause a guy otandu girl to just stop being a good boyfriend. And these guys are so credulous, they're so obsequious and so fawning over each other that they allow themselves to that they were very much or are very much in love with. Because amanye are busy telling them you're a simp. They're busy telling him, relax, Joe, it's just a woman. What do you mean it's just a woman? God told Adam, Gingy, from now on, the two of them become one flesh. A man will leave his mother and father, cleave to his wife, and the two become one flesh. So when a guy's becoming one flesh with a woman, wow, how you gonna tell him that relax, it's just a woman? She was made first, presented before Adam, and then Adam woke up from his slumber and said, this had lost his bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Listen, the first ever relationship and institution was marriage and a relationship between men and women, and yet men tell men that you're doing too much when they just fall head over heels madly in love with women. So why go drop a ball? Why a bubble a best? It's because of counsel from Amadota Manye that God did not present before Adam, before Eva. It was Eva, and then the rest of them were procreated into existence. Eve was made from a rib, organically from Adam. amadoda aze as a result of Adam and Eve coming together and they were progeny. And yet you're gonna go and make relationships essentially out of your sons as opposed to your wives. Women that get presented before you as the only relationship that you ought nurture and cultivate, because that's the one that God, after agreeing that you ought not be lonely, made first for you to have companionship. So bato babantu, black men, angazi ukuthi why niba arrive like this, but speculation some is that nyoko nonsense in the ear all the day long, just buzzing, and then later on you harass with a most deep potency Basadi that you spend from midnight to 3 a.m. on Vodacom to Vodacom for mahala. Wait, listen, your baharasa after y'all break up because you chose your boys, you chose your offspring as opposed to your wife. So I went my own separate way. You break up with the chick that was that ride or die, that hectic, that inclusive yako. Then later on, nothing ever comes that compares. And so you string some other chick along. Sometimes you even string the very one that you were on the phone with Vodacom to Vodacom for hours. Now you string her along, taking your middle time to propose marriage. I know, Shem. You see that circus in the black community. I don't want to be part of it. I cannot be part of it anymore. I was rescued from it all those years ago. And while I know that there are black men that are not this crazy, God is the one that chose for me a spouse that's not black. I wanted a black man. But you see, izinto engizithandayo ngamadoda abantu amnyama, they're not necessarily problematic in themselves. It's just that falling in love with them is the issue now. So, can your smile be an Achilles heel? It appears that it is. Can your cultural nuance and your language be an Achilles heel? Yeah, it can. Because it's no longer the fascinating thing of the day. It is now the thing that enters me into a snare. It's the thing that makes my life a living nightmare. Because thanks to it, I now am with just a douchebag for a husband. So, no. And again, please, don't take this as me generalizing. I know that there are likely some black men out there that have done a better thing and that still are doing a better thing by women, but I have no experience of that nature in myself. I'm going off experience, and so yes, indeed, I will admit that this here is largely subjective and experience-based. But if a woman by the age of 41 has never experienced from her own people, her own black men, actual love, leave me alone then if I don't want to be with a black man. Because I have got a bad enough experience to avoid it. I mean, if you have been sexually harassed before by a teacher in school, you get to have trauma pertaining teachers generally, even if new teachers that come in the future are not rapists enough for you to be cagey around teachers in school. It's your trauma to therefore eradicate or alleviate from being triggered by it again. It's your trauma. It is your trauma to alleviate yourself from being triggered by again. It's your trauma to avoid. So black men, you've traumatized me. And so it's mine to avoid you. I get to, but I wouldn't necessarily advise any other woman to avoid you, but you're my trauma to avoid because I've endured you. I have endured you. It's my trauma. Don't trigger me. Don't insist on bringing my triggers into my life again. I will flee from them. That might not be true of every woman, but it is for me. So I'm just kaloselaring to you right now that your polytheism, your pantheon of gods, your duplicitousness, your unloving state, and your determination to get a woman that doesn't want you, your regret that has made you try to make out of me a second wife, a third wife, and a polygamist, a fae, even sometimes maybe, by 27. You're that trauma that I'm trying to avoid. Don't make yourselves that thing that is going to prove to me that I have no reason to be scared of you, because listen, I am. Just deal. The damage is done. And so because the damage is done, I don't have to accommodate you. In the same way that a child that's been raped by a teacher in school before does not have to be comfortable around new male teachers. They might not be victimizers, but this woman has every right to protect herself from male teachers going forward because of her experience. So I'm 41 and I'm turning 42. I also don't have time. It is my trauma to avoid. It is my trigger to eradicate. It is mine to refuse to be with you. It doesn't have to be every other black woman's. And if this here is affecting you mercilessly, then maybe you need to look inside yourself and be sorry about how it is that you've treated black women until you were their trauma to avoid. How many of us are out here getting called angry black women? I'm sorry. There is too much of a trend, enough for it to give us an epithet, enough for us to be given a colorful little sobriquet, a nickname. That's how traumatizing you freaking are. So to deny that this here is ubiquitously applicable to many of you is in itself moot. Because why are we called angry black women? People do not just muster up anger. I have been made excruciatingly wrathful for good cause. I was a bubbly, happy-go-lucky. I was listening yesterday to videos on YouTube speaking about how it is that everybody hates the bubbly black girl. Why are bubbly black girls hated? I am a bubbly black girl. To a large extent, I still am, but I am a very cagey, bubbly black girl in that I am avoidant entirely of certain company. Black women are hollow, not ash, and insignificant to each other because of the way that you black men treat us. Because of the way that we're always so hurt by everything and everyone around us. It is expected that we're going to walk around carrying a sack of potatoes and mean all the time, cold all the time, closed off all the time, cagey, unable to just crack a smile, giggle, make people look at you like, I don't know what's wrong with her, I don't like her, why is she always smiling? There is a trauma in the black community that is just coursing through people's veins. Enough for people in the black community to hate bubbliness. So if my bubbliness, my light-hearted spirit, my bounce on my feet, me dropping jokes all the time, laughing at deep, serious matters, being such a satirist, if that is not going to be received with any kind of gladness in the black community, honey, then I'm going somewhere where bubbliness is generally loved. And I mean, I think that's just everywhere else in the world. People in this world appear content with people that are always happy. And the joy of the Lord is inside saints. And I do have God's joy when I'm not busy blowing my top, blowing steam, and being all upset at people that are hurting me. But something of me has not been lost. That is that joy. Kodwa nina bantu abamnyama ni-glad ngoba impilo yami ibuhlungu njengoma igcwele so much happiness in me naturally from God. But there are places that really like a person that's light on their feet. There are. And when you are bubbly as a black woman, to find out yesterday that this here is a thing was so heartbreaking. To be bubbly as a black woman is also something that receives you with or awards you with mistreatment, because they imagine that you've not been through anything, and seeing as you have not been through anything, then they're gonna put you through something. Look at people putting me through something because I was so bubbly that I had to be put through trash. And now 12 years down the line, I guess I've been made. That which black women must be, carrying around some weight, dog, that don't nobody be able to scrape off. But it still annoys you, doesn't it, that I am bubbly? So, I mean, there's nothing that can be done for you, even if you witness a woman enduring hell on earth, and so far as they still maintain a bubbliness, you want to really make them lose that bubble. And if you're going to work so hard to eradicate my bubble, I will go where joy is just really well received. And where that is where God is taking me. I'm not marrying a black man. Not because I didn't want one, I wanted one. I'm marrying a black man because God is taking me somewhere else. And like I said, black men, you are my trauma to avoid. Look at how much you have tried to bring me back, Gaditari. I came back to do this addendum just to lament at the amount of witchcraft all up in your grill. And I'm like, Nina, any tagata, you're so entitled. With all this entitlement that you're wearing. You want me in your lives because I am a reminder of whatever was going on back in the day when you were better men, right? And in order to get it in your lives, you selfish baboons, you're willing to depress me. You're willing to devastate me. You want to be my Messiah. You've got such a messianic complex that you want to depress me so you can be my only happiness. That's the thing. You want to be my only source of comfort. Do you see why you're my trauma to avoid? No. Because black people, in order for you to maintain your messianic complex over other black people, you made black people live in Zimbabwe right from inside South Africa and withheld from them resources, making them people chilling on the outliers. And now that the blacks of this country ain't got jack, you parasites, Nina entagate everything into obscurity because you wanted to play Messiah everywhere. You who wanted to be the only ones wealthy in the community. You who wanted to be the only ones catering to your own communities. You who wanted to be respected and appreciated for merely breathing because you are the sole provider, Guinea, impoverishing your own siblings. You who wanted to do that made South Africans live in Zimbabwe from South Africa, and so had nothing and were therefore on the outliers to a point where fellow South Africans on social media cannot relate with their poverty because of what you've done to them. And seeing as you have parasitically eaten away at black communities and now there's nothing left but ash and green in the instance of the example, the moldy bread, seeing as parasitically you have eaten to death your host, you can do no other thing but find another host. And if it is feasible for you to find another host, if the virus can transfer over to another host, that it might survive, given that it has killed the host it started with, a parasite, it will. And seeing as we are in South Africa, black politicians, black business bosses, blacks, seeing as this is South Africa and it's a diverse country. Apartheid is still in operation even though you're in denial that it got repealed. You ate into other communities that you could eat into. After, you ate into blacks. We are the first ones, we were the first ones to receive 24-hour power cuts, week-long power cuts, no infrastructure being built, robots being uprooted in favor of roundabouts. Black communities are the ones that were on the dregs of reception of government interventions. You, however, migrated over to suburbia, and so you maintained an upkept suburbia in the early stages of your parasitism on black communities that you kept poor and worsened the poverty of even beyond the days of apartheid. You hurt black people until there was nothing left to hurt. Now we're just getting through the day, we're getting by. Listen, kunjalo nje. I mean, that's the sentiment of black people. Kunjalo nje. I mean, that's gotta suck. You endure service delivery protests for so long that you eventually just say, kunjalo nje. You then went on right ahead to come then after you ravaged the blacks in the townships, the blacks now in suburbia. You came for middle-class blacks that were out here trying to kill it, like they're into homicide or whatever. You came then for the next best thing to afflict. Naza 14, now that got opportunities, hallelujah, amen. We don't know what unemployment feels like. Tina, abathole amatweng, abasebenze ema-corporates, sakhula shem, sa-UVS, sa-graduate, sathola ama-internship. You then came for us, dog. Like, listen, you did all that. What? Black people, you did this. Like, you, your government, and just in yourselves, and just in your minion capacity. You, after destroying blacks in Nagasi, wena messiah. Wena okhona ngurabaza your own family member ora askaba le any success. Kusasa, uthi wena ube the one ozohlala umthengela isinkwa. Maqeda ngobhuti wakho that is still staying kumikhukhung. Wena udla ko suburbia. Weird phenomenon that. Because how do you have umuntu wakini that's immediate, that's living in Mkuku when you've got indlu ephelele yonke? Okay, we don't know, but whatever. Let's move past that. Now that you have impoverished your whole immediate family and you're the one that is busy sending a stipend ekaya Mkukwini, wena udla ko suburbing kudi sabatsi wabona hore hai I've drained all the resources out of the poorest among the poor amidst my people. Ke ba jele kaofela ke ba nwele nkare ke ba nwele nkare ke yo ke sipi imageo ba phuzile. You then came for blacks abanye that were like you. Le balatile la ba goga ka di jeresi la ba natha nkare ke bone ka winter ele ba rekisang ko Love Street partially burnt la ba jajwala. Sis, you vampiric, cannibalistic Nephilim you decided that the poverty-stricken were depleted, and then you went into the middle class. And then you started ripping your peers, dog. The same ones with whom you out here whamming, yes, boss, in corporate, with your boss being a black woman as well. Listen, it's different times, it's beautiful times. Now people have been empowered. We got engineers in the black community. We got women engineers in the black community. Ooh, my boss is a black woman. We making it. En route. Look at EE out here empower the most previously disadvantaged group of people. Black women are strong. Colored women are strong, Indian women are strong. Black men strong, colored men strong, Indian men strong. And then you just go, and since Indians stick together like glue, since there is some kind of camaraderie even in the colored community, you saw that division, conquering. What is the thing that I'm looking for? Divide to conquer, yeah, donkey. You saw that in order to conquer, you must divide. Gunzima ugyo divide amandia. Gunzima ugyo divide amakhalad. And amalungu, lekasabahoni, they've got the money. And futan batandi, so because they will always be very cagey where you're concerned. And if a person won't give you access to themselves, you're gonna have a hard time trying to break past their fortress. So la tlogela magoa, la tlogela makhalati, la tlogela mandeya, but you started ripping carpets from underneath black people's feet. In the spaces you were at, in the corporates where you were working, you as an account manager decided to go to your peer, your colleague that is also an account manager, also a black woman, also a black guy, uzom tagata. As a lahlekelo igama lakhe abe le a bad case of amnesia. Alahlekelwe ke boka alto asa khona bala. 1 + 1 = 2 for what, for who? According to him, 1 + 1 is equals to 1. Because the guy can never grow. The guy can never grow. My ex-boyfriend, God showed me recently, Ognali busy not trying to block me from getting my degree. He wasn't the only one. My cousin also came at my degree. They were tied, the shoelace together. One foot ile my degree, another foot ile my career. My cousin wa bopa in a vision, a dream. The shoelace both lanes, my career and my education, that I will trip and fall. Career and my degree. Look at that go.